Okay, I'm going to call the meeting to order. The 2026 Board of Equalization meeting. Motion to approve the agenda.
Move to approve the agenda.
Motion is second to approve the agenda. Any discussion to that motion? Hearing none, all in favor say aye. Opposed, same sign. Motion carries. Signing of the County Board of Equalization oaths. We have to sign an oath to be on the County Board of Equalization. It's everyone signed theirs. I believe everybody has signed them and turn them into the auditor. Thank you. We got an opportunity for public comment. Anybody wish to speak? If you're on the agenda, you can wait till that moment. But opportunity for public comment. No one here. I'm going to close public comment this time. Let's go to item 2A on the agenda. Intentions, information history.
Good afternoon, Commissioners. Rhea Crane, Director of Equalization. So we have loaded in board docs some information that is just simply for your review, some statistical information. First up, you'll see that we have our non-ag intentions that were submitted to Department of Revenue. As a result of our non-ag intentions, our level of assessment this year has improved to 87.86%. You can see the history of the ratios, our level of assessment from 2021 to present. Our goal is 92%. We're slowly but surely getting there, but after the COVID years, it's been a little work in progress. We also have our ag intentions, which John submitted to Department of Revenue. You can see that we are still at 100%, which is what we expect. The third attachment is the county city assessment history. It gives you the history from 2018 to present in the form of a county total and broken down by municipality. Sure.
I would think it would be the taxpayers would prefer it being at an 86% level rather than a 92.
So statutorily, we have to be a minimum of 85%,
yeah,
right?
I know, 85 to 100. But
so if we're at a level of 86, we're gonna have some that are under that 85%. Some over, some under to come up with our target.
If everybody's at 92.
Everybody is not going to be at...
No. I said if we get to a 92 average, we'd still have some below 92 and some above, but overall, wouldn't that result in... I know that the mill levies are always supposed to go down as the valuations go up, but couldn't that indirectly raise your school taxes?
So remember that we are given an equalization factor every year to balance down to the 85% level of assessment.
Okay. So it should all balance out.
Correct. And taxes are based on the ask rather than assessments.
I know that. But school districts always can ask for more, and isn't there a capital outlay fund not subject to the same constraints as some of the other mill levies? I think so. Because I think if you look at your capital outlay, and that's one thing I've often wondered.
And that they don't set their mill, obviously. So.
And they're still subject to the same values rolled back to the 85% level of assessment.
It wouldn't, for the county, it wouldn't matter, but because it'd be on our ass. But there would be some difference with this.
With the school districts, yeah. And the state sets their general fund mill levy, but they don't set their capital outlay.
And I believe they set all the levies.
Not their capital outlay, I don't think. Well, I could be wrong.
But they set special ed, all that.
Anyway, I was just curious. We're not being recorded anyway, right?
Yeah, we are.
Yeah, we are. We're live.
Okay.
So does anybody have any questions on the county-city spreadsheet there? Any comment? If not, we will move on. The next attachment is the class percentages from 2011 to present. This is our county value broken down by class: ag owner occupied, mobile home owner occupied, and other.
Dropping.
Ag does keep dropping, yes.
Not by much this year.
But the ag percentage went down. The percentage of the whole pie went down. We also have the 2026 history of assessed value from 2019 to 26, actually broken down by class, and this one is by value. And below the yellow line, you'll see the percent of change year over year.
Definitely slowing down, isn't it? From
And the last attachment we have is the discretionary formula information. So the column in the fifth, the orange column, the fifth year is what will go on the tax rolls for 27, pay 28. And then moving to the left will be subsequent years.
Is there any questions? Let's run down through, why don't we skip to, can't really do anything with appeals till 1:30. Let's skip to agenda 5, agenda item 5.
Sure, we can do the...
We can go 5 through 9
Absolutely.
if we have to.
So item 5A is the recommendation and agreements that the appraisal staff has come up with after visiting each property, and has found that there's issues with the property that we were unaware of, or it is ag applications where people have submitted and have shown that they met the criteria. If you would like to go through them one by one, or if you would like to just make a motion to well, Ken, maybe that's a good question for you. Can we approve them in one motion, or do we need to do individuals? They're all agreements. Everybody is signed. Okay. Okay.
Mr. Clever, a question for you then. We could approve this list, and then this list could just show up in the minutes, couldn't it?
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
Okay.
It was on.
But I guess my point being, we wouldn't have to comma each name in the minutes. So this list could just be approved.
well,
The entire list individually should be in the minutes as each one of them, but a single motion to approve all.
That's fine. Yeah, okay.
you'll have to list the names.
But if she just printed this list, it would be fine. Is it?
You could just
Okay.
incorporate this whole list in the minutes.
Yes. Okay. We have action on that then.
Yeah, so I'll make a motion to approve the 2026 agreements, the individual tax holders 1 through
23.
Motion and second to approve the 2026 agreement / recommendation list and to include this list in the minutes. Any discussion to that motion? Hearing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Let's go down to 6A, owner-occupied removals.
Attached, you will find a list of the individuals in Meade County that have received a letter from our office stating that we're going to be removing owner-occupied status for the various reasons listed on the right side.
So like where it lists like places owned by companies, did they acquire those then during the year? Or is that, because you can't, owner-occupied, you can't have an owner-occupied.
Say that again, tell
Can
me.
you have an owner-occupied entity, owned by an
You
LLC?
can, if you are an owner of an LLC or something, yes, you can have owner-occupied status. As long as we can verify that you are an owner of the LLC.
Any other questions?
Give us a minute.
You don't need any formal action for this, correct?
We do need,
Cool.
actually,
'Cause it
honestly,
says
you don't need to
information-
make a formal action on this. We put this in the minutes because we have referred back to this many times when people question.
Okay, so I'll just make a motion to approve the owner-occupied.
I'll
As
second.
presented, yeah.
Motion is second on the floor to approve the owner-occupied removal list. Any discussion to that?
I don't think you would have to reiterate all the names, but that gives the staff the ability to say the commission approved this list.
And the question I was going to have, is it the only time that you take somebody off of owner-occupied
Yes.
is this time of the year? Okay.
Yes.
Okay. Didn't know if they come throughout the year, if that would cause
It's-
problems with
It's actually more of an acknowledgement of the list because it's the duty of the Equalization Office to maintain the list.
All right, just,
So,
then
that way you
my-
don't have to
from
publish names.
acceptance to acknowledged
Okay.
receipt of.
Motion and acceptance to acknowledge this list from the Equalization Department. Any discussion to that motion?
So the only other time you would remove them is like if the property sells and they don't check owner occupied.
If property sells from this point moving forward, we'll make note, or I should say if somebody moves away or we have some indication that it's no longer their principal residence, we will make note of it and send a letter next year prior to boards.
Any more discussion to that motion? Hearing none, all in favor say aye. Opposed, same sign. Tax exemptions.
You'll see attached in public comment the list of continuing exemption applications that were turned into our office. These people have all received, or these entities have all received exemption in the past. We do not have any new applications for 2026.
Oh, then how, it goes up by almost 100 approved.
You have 25%, is that what you're looking at?
I was looking at the year and number approved, and you got three.
Yeah.
That's veterans exemptions.
Okay, which one are we on then?
I'm assuming you're looking at veterans exemptions.
I'm looking at veterans.
Okay,
On veterans exceptions?
we'll get there.
Oh, which I thought we were too. Sorry.
Yeah. I was
These
looking
are
at
these
it,
are
too.
regular.
These are the
Mhm.
continuation. If you click on the link, is what.
Yep, the attachment has everybody, all the entities
So
listed.
these are everything listed. I guess I do have a note on this one. Hereford Fire Department listed as religious.
Oh, sure is. I see that.
And there's some words that get said. I don't think they're praying when they say those words, but
We'll make note of that.
anyway. Needs to be exempted, obviously, but it's not. Well, like I say,
Well, just about anybody can be a church, though, right?
we denied one, so. Okay.
That was just because they applied late.
Yep, I understand. Any other questions on the continuation before we get to exempt the veterans? Move to the veterans exemptions.
So you will note in admin content, which is not available for the public to see, is a list of the veterans exemptions.
The number.
You have a list that's listed in admin content as well?
Oh,
That gives you the individuals.
okay.
And I did put some historical information there because I found it very interesting that when we started this program, the state started this program in 2010, we removed a little over 7 million. And in 2026, thus far, we have over $72 million removed in veterans exemptions.
So the total exemption's 200,000.
Correct.
Up to the 200,000.
If you have a $25,000 mobile home, then the whole thing is exempt.
Yeah, but
If it's 500,000, then you pay.
And
And
you're exempt 200,000.
And didn't you tell me that it's going up next year?
There was discussion at the legislature, bills proposed this year to increase it to 100%, and I believe there was also one to make it 250 or 300, some discussion on that. So I expect that something will come forward next year in some fashion.
And this is, do you have the number for the elderly? How many?
The average number is 191. So pretty much pushing the cap.
Are you talking assessment freezes, Gary?
Yes.
We'll get to that too.
Okay. Just one step ahead.
You know, we used to get the veterans' names in exec. The name, in addition.
It is in there in the admin content.
No, I'm looking at the admin content. It's in there by parcel.
Okay. I was just told that it was. I haven't seen it.
Yeah.
Well, you can look it up by name via parcel number.
I know.
Okay, let's move on.
I like the personal number better.
Go ahead. Let's go to the.
Yes, we do need a motion to approve both the regular exemptions and the veterans exemptions.
I thought it was mandated that they're exempt, but I mean a motion is fine. But.
Make a motion to approve the veteran exemptions, or collegiate veterans exemptions, and continuation exemptions.
Ken, could you come forward, please? My only question is to my understanding, if a veteran comes in and can be exempt, our Equalization Office has to exempt that. There's no approval from the commission. Is that correct? So I'm just wondering the appropriateness of this.
Again, it's an acknowledgement because it's their job. If there's a disagreement with their outcome, then the vet can come.
That's how we need to record in the minutes, is that we're acknowledging it. Okay.
And any new veterans exemptions you get kind of on a monthly basis that are in the consent calendar.
But they're usually, okay, because there's no approval to it. It's a mandate that it's approved.
Correct. I mean, it's their job, and if there's a disagreement, then that is an item that comes specifically to the board to approve or disapprove of the exemption.
Okay, thank you. So it's an acknowledgement.
Acknowledgement.
Yep. Motion is second on the floor to acknowledge these exemptions. Any discussion to that motion? Hearing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion carries.
Moving on to the assessment freezes, you will find the list in, I just see there's a typo here in the number of apps. I think it's supposed to be 232 for 2025. But you will see the list in admin content.
And there we have the names, not the parcels.
That list is given to us by the treasurer's office.
Right, I know.
Any questions on this? Not any action on this. I guess, yep.
Move to acknowledge the assessment freeze.
Motion is second to acknowledge these assessment freezes. Any discussion of that motion? Hearing none, all in favor say aye.
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 Opposed, same sign. Motion carries. Thank you. That's a lot of good information. Anybody have any questions, comments on the township municipality meeting minutes? If not, and/or action to approve these minutes. I guess we have to approve, acknowledge
I think
them
you just
again.
accept them.
Accept them.
You can do,
All of them at once. Right?
Yes.
and Don will list them individually in the minutes.
I'll make a motion to accept the minutes from Ellie's and Township.
Motion is second on the floor to accept the minutes from, and they're all in this time. Some years we don't have all of them in.
Eagle Township did not submit any.
So all townships and municipalities except for Eagle Township would be. Is that fine, Rich? Yep. Any discussion to that motion? Hearing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion carries. You have a question, Don? Earl did, yes. Let's go up to the letter appeals, which is under 4A. Hunt Building. Do you have anything to add to this?
I don't have anything to add, but I will just outline that we did receive an appeal for parcel OA Hunt from Sean Nichols out of a law firm in Sioux Falls. Because we are actually in the process of retaining legal counsel due to the depth of this project, I notified Mr. Nichols and informed him that we would just act as a letter appeal and no change it, reserving their option to go to Circuit Court or OHE.
Yeah, the commission needs everything to add to this. Not, we can move on to.
Well, you gotta make a motion for no change. That's what you're looking for, right?
Yes, it is.
I'll make that motion. No change.
Thank you.
Then I'll second it.
Motion is second on the floor for no change. Any discussion of that motion? Hearing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion carries. 4B, Beam Oil Petroleum Company.
Go ahead, John.
So this is an appeal that was brought forward by a company called Ryan LLC. It is Common Sense up on Junction there right off the interstate. They supplied us some basic information. It was mostly a cost approach directly out of Marshall & Swift, which is exactly what we use. So basically, if you go to my spreadsheet area, please.
One with comparables.
This very first one. So here I laid out kind of showing their discrepancies between what they supplied us and with what we had for county records. And Mike and I actually did visit with their regional supervisor this morning. Took a walk through this property to verify, because their records indicate they had a sprinkler system, which they actually do not. The other thing that, if you'll note, like on theirs, there's actually a 751 square foot worth of casino that's attached to this Common Sense, which they didn't have any record of that on their information, so clearly affects their side of the value quite heavily. But basically, I just was trying to do a comparison straight across as they used the replacement cost, new less depreciation, as they noted in their model that the income, is not available. They didn't supply us with income. We don't have income to determine anything on that side, so strictly using cost and a market approach. I created a cost approach, and then we actually have one gas station that just sold in 25, which is the Conoco, just to the north of this Common Sense on Junction, and it sold for $750,000 was the actual exchange for the real estate. So basically, I kind of pulled these two approaches together, weighted them equally, and to kind of come up, given the weight with both, we'd be looking at like an $878,000 assessment, and we're currently assessing it at $786,000.
Gee, there's some homes in Sturgis assessed for that much. Aren't there?
Very well could be, yes.
I wonder, I bet to sell it they might add a zero,
Any questions, comments?
which I realize.
But my recommendation is a no change in the 26 assessed value.
I'll make a motion for no change.
I'll second that.
Motion is second for no change. Any discussion to this motion?
John, next year that will come up, I'm assuming?
Yeah, we haven't officially laid out our plans yet, but commercial is something that is slated to be completely redone. Something we're going to be looking at.
A lot bigger lot than the one
Yes.
up the street. It's a better location.
Yep, plus they have diesel pumps and gas pumps, which
And
most
the
others.
casino.
Yep.
Does the one at the corner ballpark, does that have a casino?
No, it has a little sub sandwich.
Yeah, it has a sub place, yeah.
Yep.
Which I would think changes that.
It does, yep. And we were also notified that this new Common Sense, they are going to expand, I guess, in the future to be adding a deli as well.
We have motion and second for no change to this property, or assessed value of this property. Any discussion of that motion? Hearing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. 4C, Glencoe Campground.
Mr. Chair, if I may, could I suggest that you just move that one to after our actual people appeals that are here, simply because there's 50-some parcels to review?
Which that completes our letter appeals then. No, that one actually.
Janus is actually going to be, actually we can do Mr. Hoag's because he moved to a letter appeal and Janus moved to a in-person appeal.
So yeah, we could bump Yeah, that'd be fine. We could bump Janus right now then, because that's actually technically not under the 130, so.
Okay.
If you're ready, Mr. Janus?
Yeah. Do I approach?
Yes.
Yep, right up here.
What we typically do is we give everyone 5 minutes to state their case for appeal. And then we'll have the staff explain what their reasoning was. So if you'd like to start off, I'll be watching the time, and I'll give you 5 minutes, sir. Oh, just a minute. Your time, your mic's on. Well, no, you're fine. We just want to get your mic on.
Okay, I'm Brad Belka, and I'm a partner in Janus. I'm kind of the silent partner, and Dane Boomsma is the business partner in this, and he couldn't be here today, so he asked me to come. We wrote a letter. I don't know if you received the letter, all of you or not, but two. So I'll kind of be referring to that, and we're here to appeal that. And I'll run shortly here. What happened at that parcel of land was we developed part of it, but we had the equipment in there, so we bladed and graded off the rest of it, and immediately turned it back to grass, planted grass in there, and planned to hay that portion this year. We do have a check, to show that Dane or Boom Shakalaka rented that ground, and will continue and to hay it. So our lot sales have not been what we expected there. I would hope that maybe next year we're here or with our taxes will be back, and we will be developing that in the future. But for right now, things are pretty slow. We've sold very few lots there, so I don't expect we'll be expanding there in the next few years anyhow. We've always used that for hay or pasture land there since we purchased it, and so we kind of just disagree with this, and we're appealing that. I guess that's about all I have to say.
Okay, thank you. I'll turn it over to the staff to let them explain why they assessed it the way they did.
Mike?
Yeah, microphone, Mike. And introduce yourself too, please.
My name is Mike Cooper. I'm an appraiser with Meade County. John and I went out and took pictures of the properties in question just last week. It did not appear as that there was an ag use there. There is no fencing, so we know they're not running cows on it. As far as their check goes, being owner on both of them, they can't do that, and it is listed in 10.6.112 that if you are a 50% partner in both companies, you can't use that as income to show that you're making income off the property. Like I said, as he has said, this was all development. They're not expanding right now, but it's still not ag land in our opinion.
Any other staff have anything to add?
I would just add that I guess at the end of the day, we're assessing this property for its highest and best use, and at this point in time, its current highest and best use is as a residential piece of property. Should that change in the future, then it can be reviewed in the future.
How many acres are we talking about?
All total, there's about 40 acres on the 4 parcels.
Okay, so it doesn't meet the minimum acreage requirement for ag either.
Correct.
But it does meet I guess explain, I'm a little confused, because it does meet the minimum. I think $2,500 is the minimum for it's either the size or the value that they bring in for ag. Is that right?
So the way current statute reads is they first and foremost have to meet principal use. Once principal use has been established, then they either have to meet the income requirement or the size requirement. They don't have to meet both, but they have to meet one or the other. So if the principal use has been determined to be sufficient, then they have to meet the income. However, in this case, where you're using 2 LLC entities that are both owned by the same person who has more than 50% interest in both, they cannot use that as a way to show for income. It's written right in statute that that's not allowed under this.
What statute is that?
10.6.112.
Yeah, plus it's principal, it doesn't meet the principal use either.
Correct.
Yeah.
I would argue that it's
Well,
going
just
to
second,
be...
sir.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Any other questions from the commission?
Dane did call me on this, and I did go out and look at it. We have been a part of a lot of these subdivisions out there that he's done building. I mean, his basic, reiteration to me was they don't plan on selling the lots. It is put back to grass. It's not infrastructure. It's not. There's no way he's building it, at least in 2 years. So he didn't think it was fair to be assessed the way it is, being that it is just flat grassland.
He's got to reestablish principal use before you're entitled to the ag exemption under the statutes. My understanding is that
Correct. And I mean, keep in mind, when developers, we don't typically go back. Ag status was never designed to be a tax break just because your development hasn't, things have slowed up. That's not what this program is designed. It's designed to truly meet if you're truly running an ag production off of this.
I'll make a motion for no change.
Just a sec. I'll give just a 1 minute rebuttal.
Okay. Well, I disagree with that. We went to the work of putting the grass in there for the reason for hay. And yeah, we haven't pastured it in a few years because of the fences, but it used to be pastured, all of that ground, and now it's going to be hay ground. And so that's my argument.
Thank you.
So, I'll make a motion for no change.
Motion second for no change. Any discussion to that motion?
Yeah, I mean, if they get it reestablished and actually hay it for a couple of years, they can come back in and reapply.
But aren't we still at 73 acres?
Well, that's principal use and income you can do it for a smaller parcel.
That's why I asked about the income.
Yeah, I know, but
But he's going to have somebody else hay it. He can't pay himself and then claim that gives him the tax deduction.
But I don't think we've had on record that as far as if you use acreage, it's still at 73 because we had so many people in the 20 to 30 acre range that have historically passed.
Right, doesn't meet the size requirement,
Right.
so he has to meet the alternative test.
Motion for no change on the floor. Is there any discussion to that motion? Hearing none, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign.
Aye.
Motion carries. The Secretary note that Commissioner Severn voted against that. Let's go to, we are well past 1:30 now, so let's go to Robert and Pamela Cole. Are they here?
My name is Robert Cole. This is my... Oh, okay. Thank you. This is my real estate agent, Arnie Sharp.
And yes, sir, I'll give you 5 minutes.
Okay, thank you. We spent quite a few months in the Sturgis area looking for a home. We relocated from Arizona. And part of that process, we came in contact with Mr. and Mrs. Sharp and their agency, and they helped us look for homes in the area. After quite a bit of looking, there was some homes that came across that seemed to meet the requirements that we had, and we actually made an offer for a home that ended up not going through because we discovered that it had a interesting design to it, that it had a wood foundation that I had never even heard of such a thing before, and we decided we didn't want to pursue that home. We continued to look in the same area and didn't find anything that was within our constraints that we had. Apparently, the home that we now did buy had been listed several months before that, but it was at a much higher price, which I discovered had been listed based on what the assessment had been on the house at the time. So that's why we never looked at it, because it was priced way out of our budget, what we were looking for. after about 3 months, I believe, where they had not gotten any takers on the property, she lowered the price, and it came into that we noticed it at that point. Really, it was Arnie here that said, they've lowered the price. You should really look at this house, and it's because we're not finding anything else around. And so we looked at it and decided we would make an offer on it, but not at what it was listed at. It just seemed way overpriced to us. And so we kind of went through some discussions, and Arnie actually prepared for us an analysis of property values in the area.
When we talk about that?
Yeah.
Okay, so yeah, we encouraged Bob and Pam to look at this property based on the idea that this property was not priced correctly. We understand why they priced it the way they did. They priced it originally at $419, probably based off the assessed value being at $407. But when you do a market analysis on that property based on whatever sells, we had to look at homes that were right up against the highway. Bob and Pam's home is right up against I-90. So when we look at those other properties that are up against the highway like that, then your sample size gets really small. So long story short, when we did the market analysis, that home, and I've got the market analysis here, I redid. It should have been listed somewhere between 350 and 370. And Bob and his wife ended up settling on 367 was the final purchase price. I noticed too, going back in the history, that originally in 2022, the assessed value was $266,000, and then it jumped up $75,000 in 2023 with no dramatic improvements that we know of to 342. Then it went up another 28,000 to 370, and then another 37,000 to 407,000. Again, not seeing any major improvements on that home. And then this last year, it decreased by 18,000 to 389. We feel that it's still too high, given the market, as Bob discussed. If that property is worth more, someone would have made an offer sooner. The market is what the buyer and seller agree the value is, which is settled at 367. So we understand doing assessed values is incredibly difficult. There's a lot of homes to do. We just feel like the assessed value should be somewhere below 370. And I do have a market analysis that I brought that I can give to anybody who wants to see it. We also...
I wouldn't mind looking at it.
Sure.
You didn't include it. Did you send that in to the Director of Equalization? Sent your stuff in?
No.
We also had a timeline of how long it was on the market. It started on the market in October of 2025, and I believe we got under contract in February?
We closed February 20, so I think we were under contract in January.
In January, closed in February.
It's good.
Anything else you want to say?
You're up on your time. I just wanted to...
Okay.
Thank you.
Okay, I'll turn this over to staff.
Okay, so Jill Edson, Meade County Assessor. So the sale occurred in February of 2026 after the November 1st deadline for statute to be used in the sales ratio study for the 2026 assessments. When they purchased the property, the 2026 assessments had already been finalized. So John and I went out and spoke with Mr. Cole, did a site inspection. He's currently making improvements, replacing windows, painting, flooring. But after discussion with him, there were no issues with the house. He's just making cosmetic changes. Luxburg is historically a subdivision that we struggle to keep up with the sales prices. And, you know, his giving the history of the sales, and he's not wrong, every year we have to do a market adjustment to these houses, to the land values because of sales. Before we did reappraisal in 2025 for the 26 assessments, our sales ratio again was 77% based on the sales as compared to our assessments. You know, the land was increased slightly to be more consistent with all other land on the I-90 corridor that was put on the same formula. The detached garage increased slightly as well, but the house itself did reduce $35,000. So an overall reduction in the assessed value from $407,000 to the $389,000.
Can I ask you a question about the sales ratio at Blacksburg? Sure. Do you divide it between the houses that are on the hill versus the ones that are down by the interstate? That I believe historically, when we have wet years, they have wet basements. And you said actually, you have a wooden basement, right?
No, I'm on a slab. I have no basement.
Oh, okay.
So, yeah, actually this year we did. So, I guess the lower Blacksburg, closer to the interstate, our ratio was 77%. The higher up the back area, our ratio was at 79% based on
okay.
So
Thank you.
Yeah, the entire subdivision.
Okay, because there's a real difference in the houses.
Oh, yeah, absolutely, and we're well aware
I'll
of
just
that.
note that those two comps are both along the interstate. That's on that.
Yeah,
sheet.
sales, and sales 1 and 2 are both on the interstate side. Both of them are 30 years older. While their total square footage is higher than the subject property, their main level is less. Sale number 3 is actually a mobile home. This was included to show what the sales prices are that we're getting in this subdivision. $335,000 for a 1,500 square foot mobile home on an acre with a detached garage.
You know, as I think before you joined the assessment team, I think John and Mike know that I've always had a hard time with the assessed values of some of those double wides out there at Blacksburg. It just dumbfounds me how they've escalated in price. And well, it makes no sense to me. But also, when I look at your comps 1 and 2, both of them are assessed for less than, I'm sorry, I didn't catch your name, less than what his is assessed for.
That's sale price.
Sale price.
Sale price. But I have a real hard problem assessing somebody for more than what they bought the property for, even if they bought the property after November 1. Because in essence, since everything is inflationary, you would almost think that they would have paid more in February than they would have prior to November 1.
Does staff have anything else?
If I could add one more comment.
Mm-hmm.
Just like to point out, one of the things that we stress when we talk sales ratios, one sale does not make a market just because there's one sale. I mean, we're looking at all sales to be fair and equitable across how we treat everybody when we're assessing for these market influences. So just keeping that in mind, that's how we're looking at it, is just one sale doesn't make the market.
Right.
Thank you. Any other questions, comments?
So, comp 1 and 2 were both, those are both stick-built houses, is that correct?
Correct.
Comp 3 is mobile home.
Right. And you can see sale 1 did resell. It sold in November of 2023 for $356,000, and then resold in June of 25 for $385,000. So that did increase considerably in 8% in a year and a half. For us or myself to reduce Mr. Cole's assessed value to what he paid for it violates USPAB requirements. We can't do that because to reduce his, I would have had to have done the same thing to all the other sales that occurred in the last year in Blacksburg, to be uniform and equitable in the subdivision, which is what we strive for.
And the difference between sale 3 and the subject is essentially we have an extra bedroom.
Extra bedroom, yeah.
Acreage is similar.
Detached garage on the subject property is a little bit smaller.
But they have a shop. That's 864 feet.
And you said
Wait,
3, didn't you?
Sale 3,
Yes,
correct?
sale 3 is a mobile home that's comparable. It's not on the interstate, but
I'm sorry, I meant 2.
And 1 less bedroom for 30,000 less.
Any other questions, comments? Before we go to you, have anything to rebut real quick? Just a brief minute.
Sure. Just the sale 3, note that it's not on the freeway. My property and I think subject are 1 and 2 both are. 3 is substantially off of the freeway. So.
Thank you.
Can I make a comment?
Real quick.
Well, she mentioned about being fair and equitable and lowering you'd have to lower other people's home assessed value. Well, why wouldn't you do that if they're paying below the assessed value? Why wouldn't you do that for everybody?
And that's what the equalization department has to remain equal. So
yeah, I'm saying, but
I think the point is that the others were not under the assessed value.
That's what
they were over. Sale prices were over the assessed value.
That's her point.
Oh, okay. Well,
so that's it. If she would adjust it for this one, she would have to do it for all of them.
Okay. Well, and I would just, along with Bob's comment, you can't compare a mobile home, no matter what it is or where it is, to a stick-built home. And it's, as Bob pointed out, it's not on the highway. Yeah.
Any other questions, comments from the commission?
Yes. We do not have, we have listed what these number 1, 2, and 3 sold for, but we do not have what they are assessed at. Can you tell me how much sale number 1 is assessed at?
Help.
It's actually a larger parcel. 1 is 1 1/4.
Yeah, larger.
My computer cooperates, yes, I will tell you.
Any other questions while we And you guys have, just to note, everything in this area, you guys have taken some off the assessment because of the issues with the sliding and the basements. And
That's correct.
what was the percent again?
This year, I think we had, if I remember correctly, I think we had 5 or 6 that were brought forward with.
6 houses, but about how much in percentage?
That we took off?
Yeah.
Probably, on average, 25% roughly, if I remember correctly.
And this one's already received that 25%?
No, this one does not
no
have
issues.
any issues.
They have no issues, okay.
I really am trying.
Yeah. Yeah, because I'm going to want it for all 3 of them.
That's coming up. It's just John, do you have the parcel numbers handy so I don't have to flip back and forth? 1152.
That one's 1152-01-01R.
And it's 6350 Chantel. Oops, no.
Say that's right.
Is that right? 1152.
Yep, 8043 Blacksburg.
$332,957.
Hmm?
And the second parcel number?
1152-0112.
$335,877.
Bill 3 is 1152-0233.
$285,766.
Okay. So in order to be fair, I believe we need to compare the assessed values as well as the sale prices. And since this property sold for $21,000 less than what it's assessed at, and depending upon which comparable we look at, up to almost $100,000 difference in assessed valuation, I make the motion that this property be assessed at $335,000, which is kind of right between 1 and 2, which are used for comps.
Just a question, do we need to separate the house, the garage, and the land?
What number did you propose?
I did 335
Well,
because
how is that between 1 and 2, which is
because
385 and 360?
Sale number 1 is assessed right now at $332,000.
Yeah.
Yes, because we can't just go off with the resales. We got to go off both, I believe. And number 2 is assessed at $335. Number 3 is assessed at $285.
Doreen, are you looking at the differences between sales 1 and 2 and the subject?
Mm-hmm.
The year built differences?
Yes, I am.
Okay, so we have a motion on the floor. Did you say 335?
Yes.
So do we need to separate the land, the garage?
Yes, we'll have to have direction.
Okay, so let's just stay with this motion for now. Do we have a second? Do I have a second? Do I have a second? Motion. We have a motion and a second to value the property at $335. Any discussion to that motion?
Yes, I'm just going to repeat the other. I cannot see assessing something for not even 2 months after it's sold for $21,000 more than what it sold for. And when we're using these 3 other properties as comparables to justify that increased assessment value, we were not given the assessment value, and every one of these 3 comps are all assessed for much less than the subject is. I believe the only way we can be fair is to lower the assessment value of the subject matter.
So if I can say that I do believe that part of the difference here is that we're sales 1 and 2 are 30-year-older houses.
Okay. And yeah, well, we have a motion and a second on the floor. This is between the board to discuss if they'd like. Is there any more discussion? I guess I'll add that I can understand a reduction in the assessment. I don't quite understand that much. That's just my 2 cents. I'm going to vote against the motion just because of that.
Well, you could always make a substitute motion and raise the assessed valuation if you feel that is more appropriate.
Understand that. Any other discussion?
I'll make a motion to amend the motion made to assess it at 367.
I'll second.
Motion and a second on the floor to amend the motion to $367,000. Any discussion to that amendment?
Yes, I will make an amendment. I will make an amendment to assess it at $357, which will bring it into about 90% of sale price.
Let's second to the.
I'll second that.
I was gonna second just so Gary has to go through this process.
We're good. We have an amendment to the amendment. Not funny.
Hey, we have to have a little bit.
We have an amendment to the amendment to amend the amendment to 357,000. Any discussion to the amendment of the amendment?
And remember, it's three. Yeah.
Any discussion to the amendment of the amendment? Hearing none, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign.
Aye.
Aye. I think that was 3-2. Commissioner Severn, Liggett, and Creed voted aye. Commissioner Wazorek and Deering voted no. So now we have an amendment at 357,000. So
my suggestion is that you make the adjustment to the house value so that the land remains consistent.
Pardon me?
Make the adjustment to the house value.
Percentage, so that would be in the motion. But we're not even to the original motion yet,
Okay.
Ms. Crane. So, we now have an amendment to the original amendment. The original amendment was 335,000. Now we have an amendment to 357,000. Any discussion to the amendment? Hearing none, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. That passed 4-1. Commissioner Wazorek being a dissenting vote. So now we have an original motion to change the value, the assessed value, to 357,000. Commissioner Creed, I believe you made the original motion. Would you agree that to include in the motion, we should change all the other structures and the land the same percent as that we're changing?
Sure, that would be
Severn,
fine.
you second that. Would that be fine with you? So we have a motion to change the assessed value to 357,000. Any discussion to that motion?
Is that to take it off of as a percentage across all of them, or just take it off the house and garage?
Well, the land, garage, and the house was assessed at 389 before, so.
Okay, but there's 3 items in there.
What would be, from an equalization standpoint, Ms. Crane, could you advise us?
I would just take it off the house value.
Just take it off the house value, period?
I have no problem with that.
Okay. Is that clear in the minutes then? If this motion passes, just all the deductions coming off the house. Okay. So the motion we have before us now is to change the assessed value on this parcel to 357,000. Is there any discussion to that motion? Hearing none, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign.
Aye.
Motion carries at a 4-1 vote. So thank you guys for coming in today.
Thank you. Thank you.
You are a rare exception.
Thank you. Appreciate
it. Let's go next to Allison Creed and Brian Carter.
I won't be talking.
Can we hold you to that?
I haven't even seen what she's got.
Are you recusing yourself tonight?
Yes.
Okay. Note in the minutes that Commissioner Creed will be recusing yourself.
Okay, thanks. You guys deserve 5 minutes apiece.
Ms. Creed, how are you today?
That won't be the next 5 minutes, though.
I'll give you 5 minutes.
First, I would like to argue that there's 2 pieces of
And if
property.
you'd please identify yourself.
My name's Allison Creed. First, I'm requesting 10 minutes of time because 5 minutes per property. There are 2 properties listed here. And they need to be discussed separately because they're 2 different taxable.
That's okay at the board. I'll give you 10 minutes, Ms. Creed.
Okay. Can you bring up the picture of the first property that you'd like to discuss?
Which one would you like to start with?
Let's do it's the one that is the most steepest. It's the one that you combined with, let's see. Scroll down, down. That one.
Okay.
Okay. So this is the second part of the first property. This property is along the sidewalk. It's very steep. I don't know if that picture shows how steep that grade is. In the paperwork, it says that you describe it as a gentle grade. And I was wondering what the Meade County's legal definition is of a gentle grade, because you said that piece of property compared to sales 3 and 4, which you listed sale number 3 as 52,777, which you appraised my land at 135,000. If you could show a picture of 3 and 4, if you scroll down. That's not. Scroll down. That's not. What do you have? So on my side, there should be a picture of Vernon Heights that you guys have.
Oh, up here, I bet.
Yeah. Okay, so that doesn't show. Scroll down a little bit more. So it would have been. So you can't see that on your picture. I can bring it.
Go ahead.
On mine. So if you scroll down a little bit more, so I'm looking for sale 3 and 4. It would have been.
Oh, so we're talking about the wrong lot here. Okay.
So, and that actually points out a good fact on here. There are 2 pieces of property, but in this paperwork you have subject as one subject versus 2 separate pieces of property, and the property was assessed by 2 separate. So is it combined a property or is it 2 single properties?
Jill, did you do this? You did this as 2 separate parcels. Yeah. 2 separate set of comps, 2 separate.
Yes.
Yeah.
And so if we could do that, I would like to see how it actually was separated. So again, on the paperwork that you have, you had the sale number 3 listed at comp as a 52,000, or it was the sale price was 52,777 versus my assessed value was 135,252. You said that was a comparable piece of property. I think that actually is one of them. Yeah, that you said the grade was gentle, and that it compared to my piece of property. So again, I was wondering what the Meade County definition is of a gentle grade, and what the actual grade difference was between that house and mine. I think that the setback on the sidewalks is 10 feet. So on my piece of property, I think it's not even of legal setback. You're going to have to excavate the whole side of that. Yeah, if you go down a little bit more, you can see that whole hill would have to be excavated out. And so then the second piece of property is actually where a house could be built. But if you excavate that to make your claim that that piece of land is assessed at the value of 135,000, you're actually going to take the support off of the other piece of property. So if you go to also parcel 1, if you scroll down, so you compare that piece of property to right here. Those 2 pieces of property are not comparable, in my opinion, at all. That piece of property does have a grade, but it goes up and you have a huge scenic outlook for all of, that whole corridor, versus my piece of property that you valued at 135 is going to stare into the back of the dirt or across the street. Now, if you wanted to make that argument that that piece of property would be comparable to the larger piece, then that would be comparable, but that's not what I see in this paperwork, because you combined one piece of property as 135 and then the other larger piece of track. If you could show, if you have a piece of that, or if you have a picture of that second piece of property, that is the better piece of property that has a steep grade. Not that one. I sent some other pictures.
Do you want it on yours?
Yeah, maybe. I would see. I'd sent another email.
Oh, the one that you just sent me?
Yeah.
Oh.
I think those pictures are
I
better.
haven't even opened it.
Oh, okay. If you show those pieces of property, I would say that property 1 would be more comparable to the large piece of property that I have because it would have a grade and it would also have a view. But grade parcel 1 is not comparable to the one that you did compare it to, in my opinion. Also, let's see, I went down to, if you went to number 2, again, the sale price was $120,000 versus $135,000 that you valued my piece of property at. That could be a comparable to the other potentially, but it was not comparable to the 135. Again, number 2, your comparison to the 120 has a view, it does have a grade. I also did talk to, it didn't go through with the email or it didn't, whatever, couldn't get it. I had three CMAs done, and also my uncle, who actually developed this whole lot, the land, they put the value of both parcels combined together between $150,000 and $200,000. So when I went up to the county, they said that the reason that they valued this at $280,000, both of those lots together, was that there was a corner lot that has not been sold that was for $99,000. Okay, so if both of those lots are comparable to the $99,000 lot on the corner, and I think there was a picture on there, that still leaves $80,000. And so I think that the combination, it doesn't match up with the CMAs that current real estate is selling at. It's overpriced. I put the assessment, and my personal assessment was greater than any of the CMAs that I got from local realtors at $215,000. Also, Iverson, the owners of Iverson Construction, that is...
Second, John.
Yeah, there you go. Oh, go back to that.
0617.
That's actually who I bought this piece of property from. If you're not familiar, they actually build homes. And they knew that they were going to have to use both pieces of property in order to build a house. And so my plan, and when Brian and I bought this piece of property, it was going to be to build one home. Again, not on, okay, so you have this brought up and it kind of makes a triangle, but it cuts, you'd have to use both sides, so both pieces of property. There you go, yeah. So let's call that a triangle, right? So over on the left-hand side, that grade is super flat, super steep. So you can't build into that house, that side of the corridor, and then build on the actual flat piece of property as well. You have to have both pieces of property combined to build. And it doesn't show on there, there's 3 levels of land. There's the bottom, which would be right there, yep. But again, you would need both of those lots to build, either at the very bottom, or the argument would be, well, you can build all the way up above, okay, yeah, like all the way up there. Well, that grade is straight up, and you would need probably $1 million driveway to get up there. And again, you would need an easement from one lot to go up and build up there. Anyways, I just think the market, I don't think the county's comparables are comparable, and I think that the assessment is excessive and is above any comparable market analysis that I received.
Thank you, Ms. Creed. Staff, if you'd like to explain why you assessed the way you did.
Which one do you want to start with?
Start with 17.
017, yeah, 017 is fine. So in looking at Vernon Heights subdivision for 2026, we reviewed the assessed values as well as all the sales prices. In doing that, there were several lots that warranted an increase to bring them in line with similarly sized properties, neighboring properties, to create uniformity in the subdivision. That's what we did. There were 14 lots that were increased to be equitable with the neighboring lots of the same size. So I guess if we go with the smaller lot, 017, in looking at the comparable sales, I tried to find sales that were most comparable in size, location within the city limits, with city services, similar topography, similar challenges that there would be to build on these lots. So in going with the smaller lot, the subject property at 017 is 0.98 acres. And to look at it, it has a gentle slope. It's not steep. It's not rugged topography, gentle compared to some of the others. If you look at sale 1, which is in the same subdivision, that sits up on the hill. It is 1.15 acres. It's located in Vernon Heights. It has a steep slope. The house sits at the top of the hill, and the driveway is almost a switchback to get around the topography to get up to the house. And that one sold. Go ahead.
No, that was my question.
It sold for $140,000 in 22. The sale number 2 is the lot next door to sale 1. It's 0.795 acres, similar to the subject property. It's got a little bit, it's not as steep as sale 1, so it's got a gentler slope, and located in the same subdivision. Sale 3, which is 0.579 acres, so just over a half an acre. The house sits towards the front of the lot on a flatter portion, but you can see towards the rear that it's got a steep slope, and there's a retaining wall that's been built behind the house. And then sale 4, which is right next to sale 3, is 0.587, and more than likely is going to require the excavation into the hill and possibly a retaining wall as well. So that's for the smaller lot. Then if we go to the larger lot, 018,
What was the sale of sale 3? I don't see it on my.
Sale 3
Right here.
is the 52,777 for just over a half acre. And then sale, got it, okay. Ready for the next one? Okay. So this one has got the steeper slope, steeper topography. It's 2.5 acres. It's got a couple of trees throughout the lot. Has a buildable area either towards the front or towards the top of the hill, which would require more than a typical driveway. Sale 1 is the same as with the smaller lot. 1.15 acres, sold for $140,000. That's got the switchback of the driveway going to the top of the hill. The next 4 sales are actually in Hidden Valley Estates, on the other side of town. It's got similar topography. Some of the lots are steeper, so they require more excavation, steeper driveways to get to building areas. So that said, sale 2 is 2.1 acres. Has a gentle slope, currently has ongoing construction, and you can see where the excavation was done towards the rear there, and like the entire back, they cut into the hillside to be able to create a flatter area to build on. The lot sold for $165,000. Sale 3 is right next to it, and again, you can see where they excavated into the hillside to be able to find a flatter area in which to build. It's 2.12 acres, sold for $140,000. Sales 4 and 5 are of the same property. It had a resale. It's 2.6 acres, it has a gentle slope. The first time it sold for $134,500 in April of 23. It resold for $158,000 in September of 24. Keep in mind that Hidden Estates does not have traditional city sewer available, so these people are required to get engineered septic systems on their properties, so an additional expense. The last photo that I had was of the neighboring property to the subject, showing that they have a steep driveway, and they have, if you looked at the aerial imagery, they have a retaining wall behind their house as well. So the comparables are showing that there are several lots in the city that have challenges. Engineered septics required, retaining walls required, steep driveways required, that don't appear to have affected their sale price.
Any questions? I'd give Ms. Creed a brief 1 minute, minute and a half rebuttal if she wish.
Is there any way that you can show that?
I did email it to them all.
Oh, okay. Yeah,
I just got it at 12:58 and we'd already started, so.
Sure, yeah. I just think the video shows the grade difference is different. And again, I think my argument is not that the valuation of the property didn't need to be increased. I argue that the valuation is still way too high. If you value this piece of property at $280,000, but you value my home at $400,000, make it make sense. And also the grade, again, there is no, what is your definition of a gentle grade? I think this is a legal entity. There should be some sort of legal definition of what, not just a blind interpretation according to a picture, because I can take a picture and it looks super steep or flat or whatever according to that. There needs to be a legal definition. And again, the setback on those other comparable lots that you guys used, it isn't comparable, because if you go out there and actually look at the property and actually walk it, like I think you're probably 4 feet out before it goes straight up versus these other pieces of property that compare. And I know of those other lots because we looked at them. Right there, that one. So exactly where those lines are is exactly where that grade, and you can't hardly see it well unless you see the slideshow, goes straight up. So again, right where Rhea has her cursor at is where we were going to build the house. So we were going to come up on the left side of that on Jimmy's and then front look out. And we were going to combine the pieces of the property. We bought them together. They were previously bought together. The property has never been individually used. And so if you built on the one that
has on your time, Ms. Creed.
Okay.
You could finish what you're saying, but.
Well, I was just going to say, if you build, I wish that you would have done, like, you should have property A and property B. It would make it more appeasing for someone to come and argue versus we're just doing left and right pointing. But if you do on the right-hand side that actually has trees on there, if you dig that out, as the argument would be, is that I would dig out that property to build a home, I'm taking away support for the other piece of property that has no trees on it.
Did the slideshow come through for any of you? Because it did not for me.
Got a cover sheet is all.
That's what I got to as well.
Any questions, comments from the commission?
So, Jill, I have a question. The property right beside with the retaining wall, and I think that a house could be built on both sites. I think that excavation can be done. I think retaining walls can be built without any issues. The property that's got the one, I know it wasn't a comp, but it is the neighboring piece with a large retaining wall. The land value was at 146 on the one beside it, and it's a little bit larger piece of property, so I do have a question on the, it'd be parcel 18, for that piece, because comparably, I think we're closer to maybe 100 on that one.
You're on the 18?
Yeah, on parcel 18, I think if we looked at the cost of the land that's got the house on it that we assessed, just curious when that was assessed.
So they were all set at site values previous to me taking over Vernon Heights.
They were laid out as site value by acreage. So we had a threshold, up to an acre, or up to like 1.2 was the threshold, 2.5, or from there up to like 2, segregating up to words. So you're 2.5 to 3.5 was the segregation, and then above that, because we have some larger lots. We have a 5-acre lot that's at almost 200,000. So you have a graduated scale, but the bigger you get, the cheaper it does get, because that's just how it works. So there is a graduated scale in there, so they are assessed equally. There's 3 back lots anywhere from 2 acres to 3.5 acres, and they're all assessed at 146,390.
And that would be, this one was the same thing, but it's an acre less. We went back and forth between a few things here.
Correct. Previously to this, these 2 lots had been isolated out, and they had actually been doing some kind of there was a different model done on them. They were not equalized, and so when the reappraisal work was done, it was brought to our attention that they were not assessed in the same manner as all the other lots, and that's simply what we have done to them, is equalize them with all the other lots based on their size and square footage with that land formula in that subdivision. And there were, I think you said 14 lots in total that needed to be adjusted.
Yeah, and you have to, the legal obligation is you have to value these as separate parcels because they are 2 separate parcels.
Correct. They are 2 legally platted lots that could be sold as 2 separate lots at this current point in time.
But if the owners wanted to plat them together and make one lot, they would likely see
then the value would be
a reduction.
That's correct. They would, because it would change its value. You'd be talking similar to the other one, then you would be talking probably similar to that overall value. Because we have a 5-acre, like I said, at almost 200,000, and so if you combine those 2,
you're going because you lower the value because it's just one lot. Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah, but no doubt in my mind that they're both buildable lots with some work. I mean, they does seem a little bit. I mean, it was a big jump, right? So that was the biggest thing. Jumped from 25 was 78,000 to 26. Probably the reappraisal portion, right?
Right.
Correct.
So prior to this, these 2 lots had been given a break, and I guess you could honestly say for years they got a better deal than the neighboring lots.
Any other questions, comments?
Parcel number 17 was 1 acre, is that correct?
Just under, correct.
Parcel 18 was 2.5 acres.
0.54, correct.
Ciphering over there, Rich?
I am. I'm thinking if I want to make a number, or I mean, I don't disagree with what's going on, and I don't disagree with the fact that it was a major change from probably a realized savings before. Wasn't probably hate to see the big jump every tunnel property.
Keep in mind that's not our job.
I know it's not. Yeah.
Cyphrin, or you? I'll make a motion on 0139 0617 for no change.
I'll second.
Motion is second on the floor for no change to 1390617. Any discussion to that motion? Hearing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion carried.
Make a motion for no change in 139
Motion is second on the floor for no change on 1390618. Any discussion for that motion? Hearing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion carries. That brings us down to Sean Blair or Renee Catron.
Hi, I'm Renee Catron. Sean Blair is my son. When we purchased this property, he was 19. So I didn't have him take off work to come here today. So he is the owner-occupied part of the property. I did not, I guess, pay attention since he is the owner that stays there to, I didn't pay attention to what the values were changing until I saw that our taxes went up $2,100 this year. And I went, what in the heck just happened? That's when I contacted the county and said, what is going on? Well, so anyways, then I also called Eisman Homes to check how much brand new single wides are. And I went this weekend and got printouts of exactly what you can get brand new single wides for with concrete underneath them, delivered. And I don't even have concrete under mine. I just have dirt. And you can get one delivered for $114,751.80, and I can give this to you. And I toured a nicer one on their lot that had more fancy stuff in it. And same thing, delivered, blocked, anchored, insulated, skirted, concrete, $120,471.80 for a single wide. And he was like, you can't have that one, it's already sold. Well, I'm sorry, but
I'll tell you another, I'm sure.
I'm assessed for $123,534 for 26. Even this year, for 25 that I didn't even pay attention to because I didn't live there and get the assessment was 118. I can buy brand spanking new 2026 and not even come to this year's price that you guys are doing, assessing me for a used trailer that, seriously, this old man, I swear to God, died in it. It smelled so bad. And even on my way here, my son called me to tell me there's another plumbing leak. You know, the trailer's not wonderful. It's not great. The heating, cooling doesn't work at all in the living room. But the HVAC people tell me it's not worth paying them to try and figure it out. So, you know, until I guess, help him buy a newer trailer, this is what we're going to deal with. But it's ridiculous that I could buy a brand new trailer for cheaper than what I'm being assessed. It's craziness. You know, and the reason I ended up out here is because it's what I could afford. But when I met your assessors, I was told over and over, well, this is because this is what you paid. Kind of like you're being penalized because this is what you paid. I don't think I should be penalized for actually affording something for my family. You know, it's just wrong what's going on here. And I think you guys should look at what you can purchase, brand spanking new, and what you guys are assessing people for. And I didn't know how this worked since I'd never been here before. I didn't know I was supposed to like look up all the valuations of what the sheet they gave me. I didn't know I should do that. I guess I wished I would have. I looked up my neighbors, the trailers right next to me. And to be honest, that's even kind of crazy. So across the street from me, and these two trailers are in Box Elder, and I'm always told, don't ever get into Box Elder because it'll cost you more money. So I'm thinking, I won't ever get into Box Elder because I don't want to pay more money. So just across the street, you had the picture, I know. So anyways, the one across the street, so their trailer's larger, it is older, but they're assessed $42,000 cheaper than mine. And I'm like, how the heck does that happen? They're right by me and they're in Box Elder. So I don't get it. And they're on 3
You're coming up on your time, Ms. Katz.
Okay, 3.3 acres.
Can I see your price list that you got there on your mobile home?
I'd love to show.
And you included, we have a note of, you sent a note to the Equalization Office? With these prices, it's in the center packet.
Well, I had called originally, but I actually went there and then toured.
Okay.
What
So we
they
have
put
some
on the
comparables on
lot.
track. Okay. Thanks, Ms. Katrin, I believe you pronounced your name.
Yes,
Sorry.
thank you.
Staff, you have a reason for assessing it the way you did.
First off, she did see a massive increase in taxes because the home that she bought had an exemption the year before. So that was the biggest increase she actually seen was she went from exemption to no exemption. So you're going to see a huge increase in taxes.
What was the exemption?
That's exemption.
What?
Veterans.
Oh, okay.
So that's the reason for the tax?
Yes.
Okay, thank you. And the reason you assessed it the way you did?
The reason for the assessment is, as she has said, part of it was her sale price. Was one of the mobile homes we did the reappraisal out here, we used to come up with the factor required to get mobile homes closer to what they're selling for, which it ended up being a 35% increase. So there was a 35% market factor added to mobile homes in this area after they were run with the depreciation required. And all the other sales up there, well, sale 1 and 2 are right in the same area. They got the same one. Sale 3, it's just to prove a point. It's a 1973 home on a quarter acre that sold for $191. Once you attach a trailer to a land, I don't know why, but age doesn't seem to matter. What you can buy a new one for doesn't seem to matter. Once it's attached to that land is where the value is. And sale number 2, sale number 2 there, sale 1 and 2 both have bigger lots. Sale 1 is pretty much a flat lot. It sold for $325, which shows. Sale 2, about a third of that is water. So you can see that it did affect the sale, in my opinion. It was because of, it is an older mobile home, but it does have a third of that 10 acres is underwater. Hers is surrounded by water. It's an odd-shaped lot, but, the market itself is what drives what mobile homes are assessed at sitting on the lot, because that's what we have to do, not what you can buy a new one for. It's what it costs.
There's on your value you have hook up at 8840. What?
That is for your electrical,
So that's just the cost.
all your utilities, yep. Okay. Because in a home they're figured in, and in a trailer house they're not, so we have to add them separately.
Okay. And then the garage you got at 25.
Correct.
So do these other ones have outbuildings on them?
They do not. Sale 3 does, but sale 1 and 2 did not. Sale 1 does now. They've added buildings, but when they bought it, there was not.
Did Catchman just buy this last year? Is that why the assessment, that's the exemption changed?
She bought it in 24, so yeah, the exemption would have came off for then, for 25, or 25 paid 26, so that's why she would have seen the huge increase.
So essentially, with the $200,000 exemption, all but 18,000 was exempt.
Correct.
Yeah, but that does not explain the fact that this mobile home is assessed at 10%. This 14-year-old mobile home is assessed for 10% more than you could buy a brand new one, and it would be on concrete. And I'm sure concrete isn't cheap, but that should be another 10%. Why, in golly's name, would we tax a 14-year-old mobile home for more than a brand new one? Because I think there's a definite difference in the life expectancy of a mobile home versus a stick-built.
There is, but again, we go by market. We go by what stuff sells for.
Yeah, but if it sells brand new for 115 or 110, why would we charge somebody 124,000 when the brand new one comes with concrete to boot? I don't understand that.
Yeah, the follow-up question there is, then why would anybody pay $241?
I guess because they got the land. They got 3 acres of land. It seems to me.
What are?
I do have one question for you guys. Do you know what the water source is? Are they on that? Yeah, Ms.
I'm
Catron.
on Box Elder Water.
You're on that Box Elder line.
I'm connected right there at the street.
Yeah, yeah.
And can I make one more point? It
Just,
says I'm a
if you would,
bedroom.
if you would, I'll let you rebut in just a little bit. We're having questions with staff right now. What are lots of this size without anything on them going for around this area?
They've got it 60,000 on their value, which I think is probably low for this area.
That's what I'm asking.
Yeah.
Yeah.
My guess is the lot's a little low, but.
Well, in this area, that's one reason I asked for water, is there's limited, that Box Elder pipeline isn't, I don't believe it's doing any more connection. And the water, you can't do wells there because the water's contaminated. So it's impacting some of those lot issues out there. But, I mean, it's not out of line. It might be a little light, but it's, it's a hard call because there's some water issues on this, which some people might like.
Yeah.
Have a little pond in the back, which some people might hate.
Right. The chart that's up there right now shows the sales that we had when we started the reappraisal, before and after, and how the land formula was derived. We did all of the land formula homes, mobile homes, vacant lot. Everything was all assessed the same way. And as you can see, if we would have went higher on the land, we would have went over on some of our home sales.
And that's why I'm asking the questions, because when you're making these comparables, you're taking the trailer house plus the land is what the sale price is. So therefore, we don't really know what attracted him to it. Was it the land? Was it the trailer house? Was it the garage that was on it? But you're taking what was put together to make it comparable.
Correct.
So, yeah, I can. This one I've looked at, and like I say, we could make an adjustment one place, but it might have to make another adjustment in another. So, yeah. Anyway, any other question?
Rhea, did you get those assessments?
Parcel 3259.18. Let me pull up.
Yeah.
Sale 1.
303,046.
Okay.
Sale 2, 211,758. Sale 3, 92,807.
So they're all in line with what this says.
No.
What did you say the last one is?
92,807.
Oh, and that one's in 1973.
Yeah, but I would assume it's condition plus it's a quarter acre.
Yeah. Yeah, I meant the other two.
Versus the other, but number 1 is an older trailer, but 3 times the land. The other one is an older trailer and again, better than 3 times the size of land. And it's assessed at 211. Maybe the land could use some adjustment, but again, I have this thing with mobile homes. I can see no way that we can charge 10, 20% more for a 14-year-old mobile home that's probably had hail damage and Lord knows what else in South Dakota versus a brand new spanking clean one.
It's based on the sale prices of the house. So I don't disagree with the concept, because I live in a double wide on acreage, and I ask these guys every year why my taxes go up. But it's way more than what I paid for it, and way more than I got into it. But I also know that when I sell it, it's what it sells for. So and that's unfortunately the way that we have to do that.
Let me give Ms. Catron a brief 1-minute rebuttal.
So it states I have a 3-bedroom. I called Mike the second I got his card when I purchased it and notified him that the previous owner changed a bedroom into a handicap shower, and they walked through and noted that it's no longer a bedroom, so I'm not sure why it still says 3 bedrooms. And if you could show an aerial, please. I work for a civil engineering firm, and I asked my wetlands engineer to analyze, evidently up to the box elder line, which is that line, the green line, it is studied wetlands. Once you cross the line, it is not studied, but all that land would be considered wetlands because it completely shows it as wetlands up into it. And then it just stops because it's not studied. So truly, I cannot even build anything into the stuff to the north because it would be considered wetlands. And I found that out after the fact, just because I thought I could probably split it someday. Just to let you know that.
Thank you, Ms. Catron. Any other questions, comments from the commission?
I got a question. Mike, what's this deal on that?
It does have a handicap shower. I had already printed this out. I just forgot to change it, but it does, and I did an ad for the shower that's in there. There is a big handicap shower in that room instead, so.
I would assume a handicap shower bathroom is worth more than a bedroom.
It is.
In a typical scenario, I would say yes, it does. Just a quick comment on the, a brand new, the disconnection between a new mobile home cost putting it on the real estate. So I go back to, I use this example a lot with trying to explain, you get brand new homes, so in Sun Valley, you put a brand new home on a lot. That brand new home costs, $300,000 to build a home plus the value of the land is at, say, $60,000. So you're at $360,000, but that home will sell in the market for $550,000. So that brand new home, because of sales, is worth more because of the market influence. It's no different than a brand new mobile home. You buy it, you put it on the lot, it gains value because it's attached to a piece of real estate now versus just sitting in a trailer park.
Okay, any other questions, comments from the commission? Questions, comments, and/or action?
Make a motion for no change.
Motion and a second on the floor for no change. Any discussion to that motion? Hearing none, all those in favor say aye. Opposed, same.
I'm gonna vote
Just a second.
no.
Use the word aye for the yay.
Yeah.
Okay. Opposed, same sign.
Me. I. Someday, I can see what you say, and I'm going to have to think about it between now and the next assessment year. This is not a new thing for me with mobile homes. I just can't wrap my head around it.
Brings us down to, let's get on this meeting. This brings us down to Ryan Elizabeth Hegg. That was a letter appeal now? Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you for coming in today.
Okay, with Ryan and Elizabeth, as we have the last 2 years, me and John went out and visited with him. there has been adjustments, which is in that second sheet, the very last page. In previous years, there was a reappraisal done out there this year. There were several homes, as we've discussed, and that were in that have settling out there. We double checked with the numbers to ensure that we're in line with what we have for estimates. They do not have an estimate for us this year. So we told them we recommended no change. At one point, we thought they were going to pull the appeal. They never did. But, yeah, as you can see, there's actually $10,000 more adjustment this year than there was in previous years. The value did still go up, but the land went up, so that was part of it. So
I remember these people.
We have a very good dialect with Mr. Haug and his wife at this point. And I think they fully understood that, at this point, they have some damage, but, we'd advised them to get a cost to cure through like Blackburn or Rapid Foundation to get a true hard number as to what is the degree of settling that they do have on this property. Because at this point, they're being treated kind of similar to some of the other properties that we have seen, but a lot of these folks do have estimates. It's really easier to back into that math. So, we knew that going into the reappraisal because he was one of the ones that we've had settling issues noted for a couple of years now. We did not note anything new as far as settling. Nothing's gotten worse to the point of, warranting anything much more severe. And so that was kind of where we had left that conversation with them. But unfortunately, we've not been able to have any conversation beyond that point. And I know if you guys remember, he had some health issues asked, and so.
Any other questions, comments from the commission? And/or action?
Motion for no change.
Motion for no change. Do I have a second? Motion and a second on the floor for no change. Any discussion to that motion? Hearing none, all in favor say aye. Opposed, same sign. Break before we go to Glencoe, or we take a quick break? Let's call this meeting back to order. Brings us to the Glencoe appeals, which is a letter appeal. It didn't make the agenda, it made the agenda late, didn't it?
We received this in the mail yesterday morning, so it went on the agenda sometime around noonish yesterday.
Thank you. Go ahead, staff.
So this is Glencoe Campground. Basically, they submitted, it's basically a cut and copy from last year. They're appealing not only valuation, but classification as well. They're asking for ag status again on all these parcels, except for the mobile home ones. There's not been any change. Mike and I did go back out yesterday before we submitted this. We did take, again, more new pictures. So one, there's no fencing around this. So if they were running cattle, they would be in the state land and the neighbors in a heartbeat. There's clearly no sign of any kind of grazing of any kind. So, the older leases, they're using the excuse that we did that illegally, which, if you guys remember, that was settled in court. Basically, I pulled through because the valuations did not change from 25 to 26, with the exception of along Highway 79, they did a replat where the hired man used to live that house there. They replatted that, and part of that one bigger piece, and they made 3 separate residential lots that they have been currently listed. The house and the 12 acres was listed for $899,000. They just recently pulled it off the market. So, given that, our recommendation is no change on value and classification properties.
Any questions, comments from the commission?
The only ag they turned in were those applications that basically they just took last year's stuff and rewrote different dates. No lease agreements, no anything further to. I think this makes year 3 or 4, honestly. I think they've appealed every year since our circuit court case. Yes, they did. It's probably been the better part of a decade that we. Yes, it is. And if you would like, we could play the parts for the commission.
Let's have a movie night sometime, maybe not today. Any other questions, comments from the commission? Questions, comments, and or action? I think would probably be appropriate
on everyone.
I think we can do that, but I think we need one on classification, and then I think you could say no change to the assessments on all listed, I think would be appropriate. But I think we need 2 separate motions, one for classification, one for the assessments. So
Yeah, the different taxpayers, I think, different motions.
Okay, you're probably correct.
So the Glencoe Camp Resort, that's just the 2 double wides?
That's correct.
So I'll make a motion for no change on.
So you're saying on their appeals, so that would include the classification as well?
There is no classification request there because they're a mobile home.
Motion second on the floor for no change the Glencoe appeals. Any discussion to that motion? Hearing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign.
I'll make a motion for no change on the Oakman Hotel applications.
Motion second on the floor for no change for the Oatman Hotel, Oatman appeals. Can we just get through the motion second? Take a vote first, please. Motion second on the floor for the Oatman mobile home appeals. Any discussion to that motion?
Doreen, do you want to get into mobile homes and get some comparables?
So we refer to them as a mobile home, but they're actually those FEMA like man camp trailers. Have you ever? There is in my response to the mobile home appeals at the very bottom. Have you ever been in any of them, Doreen? They're. I mean,
during the rally or at other times, if you ever been in one.
They're essentially a step up from a cabin. In all reality, they're very, very low construction costs. I mean, and they're not well maintained at this point.
Okay, let's. There's a motion and a second on the floor for no change to the Altman properties. Any discussion to that motion? Hearing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion carries. We need some more action.
I'll make a motion for no change on the ag status on the Lopez property.
Motion and second on the floor for no change on the status of Lopez properties. Any discussion to that motion? Hearing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion carries.
And I'll make a motion for no change on the assessed values of the 25 mobile homes.
Motion and second on the floor for no change to the assessed value to the mobile homes on the Lopez properties. Any discussion to that motion? Hearing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion carries.
You need a motion for no change in the assessment on the land value then too?
Of the remaining Lopez.
Make a motion for no change assessments for the remaining property.
Second.
Motion and a second on the floor for no change on the remaining land value of the Lopez properties. Any discussion to that motion? Did you get all that, Don? That was
Rich.
second by Rich. And, yep. You good? We're kind of going fast, and I looked over and you're typing away. Okay. Any discussion to the motion for no change? Hearing none, all those in favor say aye. Opposed, same sign. Motion carries. I believe we hit them all, didn't we? Or did we got?
I believe you have them all.
Okay. Albo was giving me the kind of a smirk over there, so
It's just my natural.
what he was up. What you're either up to something or your natural smirk.
Sometimes I just think funny things.
I've noticed that, but sometimes there's a smirk like I'm going to get him on this one. So, okay. Well, I think we've completed the agenda and the business today. I guess you guys did a good job, and I think it shows. Rhea, John, Jill, and Mike, you guys, I appreciate it. I mean, we had 4 appeals today. I think Rapids or Pennington County oftentimes will have 3, 4, or 5 days of these, and I think it.
Well, Gary, we used to have a lot more before they changed the taxes, the ag assessment process.
Oh, I understand it, but at the same time, staff has done a good job with.
Oh, they do a great job.
And there's more that's done just sitting and talking to residents than that we get to see, and so it really shows just seeing the 4. I know you guys have been dealing with this for a long time, so I do appreciate it.
All the information's there, and it's not. These are.
Yeah, and when we change something, it's some of those are. You guys got to base it off equalization. We got a little bit more leeway, so you guys appreciate the work you guys put into this. I think we've completed everything, so I'm going to declare us adjourned.
Okay.